Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I just wanted to rank all the major theologians and I wanted to give my thoughts on these theologians. And I'm only doing the ones that I have something to say about. So let's just get right into it. So let's start. The first one on here is Saint Anselm. He is personally one of my favorites, not only because of his ontological argument, but also because of just other things in his like the monologium on the being of God. I actually have back there, I don't know where it is, the works of Saint Anselm, and it in that includes the proslogium and monologium, which I think are really good works of Saint Anselm. Also, his views on free will, I also align with a lot. That his views were, very similar to my views when it comes to free will. So yeah, I'll put him S tier because he's definitely good. I forgot to mention his ontological argument is a really good argument, and a lot of people don't give him enough credit for his version of it. Lots of people just prefer Alvin Plantinga's version of the ontological argument, but I think it's Anselm's version is really underrated. So yeah, Saint Athanasius, S tier. I feel like this is universal. Everyone puts Saint Athanasius in S tier, only because we would all be heretics if it wasn't for Saint Athanasius. And so yeah, Saint Augustine. I'll put Saint Augustine. Well, let's first talk about him. So Saint Augustine, his views were he had views on predestination, that we were predestined, and he had views on the sovereignty of God, which I do not agree with, but I do like his adaptation of Platonism and of Neoplatonism to Christianity, and I think that's really I personally like Saint Augustine's adaptation of Plato's philosophy to Christianity more than Thomas Aquinas's adaptation of Aristotelian philosophy into Christianity. So I'll put him A tier, only because I don't agree with him on the stuff of predestination. So yeah. Thomas Aquinas is next. For Thomas Aquinas, I'll put Thomas Aquinas in A tier. I'll put him. Well, let's just talk about him first. So Thomas Aquinas was, as I stated before, he adapted Aristotelian philosophy to Christian theology, most notably with the cosmological argument. The cosmological arguments. It's a series of arguments. Also, his views on. He also wrote things about Neoplatonism. I'll put him A tier along with Augustine. Let's see. Luther. I'll put Luther B tier. He had very high view of the sacraments and stuff. And he wasn't a particularly bad theologian. He kicked off the Reformation. So I think that's pretty good. And his 95 theses were good too. So I'll put him B tier. Duns Scotus. Now this is a hot take. Actually, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I personally do not like Duns Scotus. I don't think he's a good theologian. And I've been reading the Systematic Theology by Louis Berkhoff, and I remember one of the things that he says was that the works of Duns Scotus marked the downfall of medieval scholasticism because his work was destructive, unlike Thomas Aquinas' work that was constructive and systematic. And Duns Scotus was just deconstructive and deconstructing previously conceived notions in theology. So he's kind of like the postmodernism of theology. He's just all about deconstructing things. He had his works of his own, but still, I'm gonna put him C tier. C.S. Lewis. I'll put C.S. Lewis S tier, because I agree with a lot of the things that he does. He says he's universally really good too, and I think he's a great theologian, and I think he's underrated with his idea that people who've never heard the name Jesus can still be saved. It's very interesting to read about it. So yeah. John Calvin. I'll put John Calvin with Duns Scotus in C tier, because he wasn't like, a bad theologian, but I just don't agree with him with the idea of predestination. And yeah, there's not much to say there. John Knox. Knox I'll put in B tier with Luther, only because of his actually, you know what? I'll put him in C tier along with Calvin. I did not like, he had a very high view of the sacraments, and he also had I liked his church government, his Presbyterian church government. I think that was a good thing that he developed. Also, John Knox's view of icons and images of Christ. I agree with him on that stuff. So I'll put him B tier with Luther. He's also just a good, like, a major reformer. John MacArthur, a D tier. Like, he has good sermons and stuff, but kind of a heretic. So I think that was the last person on this list. Yeah. So yeah, that was my list. So I'll just go over it again. In S tier, we have St. Athanasius, C.S. Lewis, and St. Anselm. A tier, we have St. Augustine and St. Thomas Aquinas. In B tier, we have Luther and John Knox. In C tier, we have John Calvin and Duns Scotus. And in D tier, we have John MacArthur. And that was my ranking list. It was very short. I just wanted to make this video. It's very aligned with my views, my personal views. And so yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.